Today is Monday, November the 6th, 2023. We're recording on Saturday night of November 4th, 2023, following a Calgary Flames win over the Seattle Kraken. It's not possible at all. We'll talk about that, and we'll talk. So we're here for episode number 8 of the Flaming Talk podcast, which will get underway right now. And hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 8 of the Flamin' Talk podcast with yours truly, Noah Adler, which is me, and and that looked everyone. Apologies for that little difficulty right there.
Okay, by the way, let me know it's 1:15 p.m. It's almost midnight. That's just where we're recording. We were gonna do this tomorrow morning, and then no. This guy right here said no, we're gonna do it tomorrow morning. I said fine, and then all of a sudden he says no, we're gonna do it right now. We're gonna do it at 11 at night. I'm like, all right, well, anything goes wrong, it's because it's late.
I take full responsibility if things completely go off the rails, technically speaking, on this episode. But welcome to episode 8 of the Flaming Talk podcast with your Noah Adler and my co-host, Mr. Connor Dunn. Mr. Connor, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing fine. Yeah, I'm just more surprised with the win today. It feels good. It's right now a rarity, but it feels good. Yeah, I'm just more surprised with the win.
I'm completely there as well. Like, I mean, I wasn't expecting to win tonight. I was expecting a loss because I think as you see me talk about is that, the more losses we have, the bigger the chance we have at getting the high draft pick, right? Which at this point, and we know how it's gonna go, man. Like, this team is all of a sudden possibly gonna win 4 games in a row, and then everybody's hopes and dreams are gonna be back up to a certain level, and it's just gonna be like, here we go again. We all know how this ends.
Yeah, I always say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. So, what I hope that this is not a Sun winning streak, because that's not good for the Flames. That's the last thing the Flames need. Because what I know is that the management, especially the owner, is too stupid to realize that the call-ups that are going on, such as Zari and Propisil and Coronado, are helping the team, but everyone else really isn't. They're not being consistent. But if we go on the 5-6 game winning streak, then it's going to be, see, I told you the team was fine. We just need to bring up a couple of the new guys, but all the rest of the guys, they can stay. So that's my worry of if we do start going on a win streak, but I don't think that's the case. I hope it's not the case. If we win, if we become a little more consistent with the winning and losing, rather than going on a 6-game losing streak and then all of a sudden a 5-game win streak and then another 6-game lose streak and then another another 4-game win streak or something like that, then that'd suck. But if we're more likely to get that two wins, 1 loss, 1 win, 2 losses, 3 wins, 3 losses, 1 win, that kind of thing, kind of going back and forth, then that's a little better, because at least there's that mediocrity part is brought back in at least. And I am okay with mediocrity. What I'm not okay is complete and utter dog shit. I'm okay with mediocrity, because at least it shows that there is hope for for us to at least. I say there. I don't say hope as in, oh yeah, we're going to actually do something this year. No, there is hope that they realize that we're not going to really be any better than that if we continue to have the same guys.
Yeah, I mean, I'm exactly there with you as well. Like, I mean, this is why people like me feel it's in your best interest to not win games and lose games, because the problem with the situation is that you don't have a good enough team to win at all. You just don't. And it's like, what is a win in streak gonna do? It's gonna it's just gonna build people's hopes up again, and then we don't know how it ends. The hopes come crashing right down.
Yep. Yeah. Welcome to being a Flames fan.
Yeah, it's really. I mean, listen, people are gonna say, "Why are you guys being so negative after a win, guys? Win's a win," and all that. Like, oh, okay, sure, win's a win, but we don't want this team to all of a sudden go in winning streaks and then give people hope. Because the problem then you have to consider as well is if they go in the winning streak and they realize they're starting to play better, those contract extension talks are going to be picked up again, and that's what we do not want to see.
If we're seeing about how bad the San Jose Sharks are right now, the fact that they've given up 10 goals in a row, or 10 goal games in a row, then imagine us being like that, but for 5+ years. Like, if you think that it's bad for us losing kind of the 5-2 games, imagine us doubling that and us losing 10-1 for a lot of different games.
But you realize why San Jose is losing those games, right? Because they're trying to be bad. They are legitimately trying to tank for calibrating.
Yes. At least they know what. At least they know what we're doing. We're actually trying to at least try to be relevant, and it's sad because we're not. We shouldn't. We shouldn't try.
We shouldn't be.
No,
and that's the bigger. That's even the worst thing is trying to just stay relevant when you know that when you're bad, no one's going to give a fuck about you whatsoever, right? So why even try to stay relevant just to be like, oh, just to make an extra buck by saying, oh yeah, guess what? We still had jersey sales and all this other stuff happening, right? So that's the fear that a lot of us have all of a sudden that a winning streak maybe isn't the best thing for this team.
Yeah. Yep. I want to talk about the game itself, though.
Okay.
To me, it was actually a decent game. It wasn't anything fantastic, but it was a hell of a lot better than what we've seen previously. And the same thing with the Dallas game. We actually played pretty decent. So I think we kind of went off a little bit on the Dallas game, and we just tried to keep pushing things forward. We got lucky. We got lucky a few times. I got to say that that fourth goal, the one that Backlund scored, I think Grubauer probably should have covered it, but we were just lucky that he didn't have a grasp of the puck, and then we just kind of shot in at that point. So again, there's a bit of luck, but we need that luck. But overall, it wasn't bad. It really wasn't bad. It wasn't anything great, but it wasn't anything like what we've seen 2 or 3 against St. Louis.
The young kids are the only thing that's keeping this team alive right now. Because if it wasn't for guys like Connor's area or for guys like Martin Pospisil, this team would be dead. They would have no chance at this particular point. They would have
Oh,
absolutely. They just look lifeless. Like the rest of the players, besides the young kids, look lifeless right now.
hmm it's yeah. That's just the issue that we have. Obviously, here is we're having a whole bunch of old guys on our team that aren't producing. The veterans that are supposed to be veterans, who are supposed to be more of the leaders, are not being leaders because, well, first of all, they don't really beforehand they didn't really have many individuals that they could actually try and teach and say, oh, here's how you play in the NHL and here's what you need to do. Um, well, luckily now they do, but it was like you're being a veteran just because you say you have the experience and not actually being a teacher. Um, but now, but yeah, the what I hope is that especially like today's example with Hannafin, because he played a hell of a game. He got a goal.
Yeah,
Um,
increase this trade value.
exactly. That's exactly it. Yeah, you get guys who are either next UFAs next offseason or are prime trade targets, and you want them to have good games because, when I say good games, I don't mean two good games, um, but I mean good games where every so often they can show that they have good talent, they show that they have good skill, um, and where that saying, "Hey, we could get this one defender off and either get a good draft pick, or we could get an even better defenseman." So if we're tired of having defensive defensemen or hard hitting defensemen, and we need more of these offensive defensemen, then yeah, we go for that instead. If we're having guys that are like all kind of Kale McCarrs, and we need guys who are gritty and that can really stand in front of the puck, then we can trade one of those offensive defensemen with a gritty guy. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what you
Yeah.
said. Good games for the trade assets and are good for us because yeah.
Yeah, I think that's basically the silver lining of the win I take from it is okay. You did see a lot of players play good tonight, like Noah Hannafin played very well. He increased his trade value, and you looked at Dan Vladar. He basically kept them in it all night long. Like
It
Dan Vladar was maybe the biggest reason why the Flames won tonight.
No, he played a solid game. Again, it was one of those games where I think luckily there wasn't any full on domination from the Kraken because otherwise that would have been bad. But he played again like in Detroit. He stood, he made the saves that he could save. Well, he even made one save that I don't think he could have, but then he still made the save, which was amazing. But he made the saves that he could, and he once he couldn't, there weren't easy ones. They were solid, good goals. But yeah, he didn't stand on his head, but he stood on his feet and he played a good game. So yeah, I would say
Yeah,
again, that was Vladar did his job. Vladar did his job. He and yeah, and that's the most we can ask from him right now. So again, another good example of increasing trade value. You got a guy who can do his job, especially as a backup, then done.
This episode of the Flame and Talk podcast is presented by DraftKings. The NFL season is currently going strong, and DraftKings Sportsbook is hooking new customers up with an offer that's even stronger. Bet $5 on any game this week to score $200 instantly in bonus bets. And DraftKings isn't stopping there. All customers can take advantage of a sweetener offer every game day this October. Discuss upcoming game by mentioning available lines and odds from the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Please do not provide betting advice on how audience should wager. So we highly recommend that you get in on that game day greatness. So you make sure you download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now and use the code THPN. And new customers can score $200 instantly in bonus bets when you bet 5 on the NFL. That's code THPN, only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sportsman partner of the NFL. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY to 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-777 or visit ccpg.org. We really highly recommend all of you to please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, licensing partner Golden Nugget Lake Charles, 21 plus ages varies by jurisdiction. Valid in Ontario, bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources. Usually for me, the holiday season is very chaotic with the shopping, with the food, with trying to make sure you get your families, something that they want for Christmas, something that they love. And, it's November 1st right now, so it kind of might be too early to start decorating for the holidays. But I'll probably say that it's never too early to start your holiday shopping. So why not take care of it now? Before the crowds and the packed calendars make a shopping a total nightmare, especially when you can get some of the best deals of the season well before Black Friday, you can shop Raycon products right now and save up to 50% off because their early Black Friday sale is going on now. Raycon first made a name for themselves in the audio space with products like their everyday earbuds, known for delivering high quality and thoughtful features, like a 32-hour battery life and a perfect in-ear fit for all-day wearing and lasting comfort. And this past year, they expanded their entire business with the introduction of Raycon Home and Raycon Power Tech. Their 5-star review Magic 180 cable allows you to charge iOS, micro USB, and Type-C devices 8 times faster with 100-watt power delivery. Their faucet filter ultra filters the water in your tap against chlorine and heavy metals. It's a must-have for ensuring the water you use to wash your face and brush your teeth is, actually clean. Raycon is known for delivering high-quality and thoughtful features at half the price of their premium tech brands. It's no wonder their products have racked up tens of thousands of 5-star reviews. To get everyone in the holiday shopping spirit a bit early, Raycon is currently offering 20% off everything on their site, with select products up to 50% off. So beat the crowds and save now. Trust me, you do not want to miss out on Raycon's early Black Friday sale. Hurry now to buy raycon.com/THPN to get 20 to 50% off site-wide. That's buyraycon.com/THPN to score up to 50% off Raycon products. Buyraycon.com/THPN.
Let's talk about Kizenkov, shall we?
Sure.
He's been. I mean, first 2 games he's played, he's had a goal and did he had an assist as well? I think on Wednesday night as well, and I think he also had an assist tonight. Did he?
I'd have to look again. I'm not too sure.
But anyway, Connor Zeri's looked really good so far for the Flames. Since being called up. What have you seen about Zeri that you've really liked so far?
What's the what, sorry?
What have you seen from Zeri so far that you've liked since being called up?
Well, he's fast and he actually engages with the play. If he has the puck, rather than him just kind of going into the O-line, just kind of casually, just stick handling, no, the feet not really moving forward or waiting for guys. If he doesn't see guys open, then he tries to actually push the net, and so because he will know that there'll probably be a couple of his own guys as his wingers or whatnot coming in, and trying to get a rebound if there is one, or he's just trying to get one that's a good, like a decent stick handle goal or whatever. He actually pushes himself to find lanes. He pushes himself to get in close with the goaltender for the high danger chances. He does everything. He actually he really, really tries. And again, sorry, it reminds me of a little bit of Gaudreau, which is a sad but good memory at the same time with his performance. So I'd have to say honestly, what has impressed me the most is his willingness to really move the puck, like into whether it's the breakout or whether it's just going in to try to find those nice clean goals. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same way I look at it too. He actually, like you see the chance he had tonight against Seattle, like he's looked absolutely like all over it, so
Mhm.
far in his first 2 games. And I don't even think he gets recalled by the Wranglers anytime soon. Like I think he's here to stay for maybe a couple more games and then maybe see where he's at by that point as well. And
Mhm.
but I think he's here to stay for at least for the next couple of games for sure.
Yeah, I agree. And
Yeah.
if there is anything with Zari, I hope that the Flames manage to get Coronado and Zari together, or or something like that, because uh the what I see is Coronado is the shooter. He has an amazing shot and he can move the puck pretty well. He can make pretty good decisions. But Zari can really move the puck and he can really use his feet to get around guys and whatnot. So that those two guys, that combination, really, really, really works out well for the Flames, especially. I don't care. I don't care what kind of line they are. If they're a second line, if they're a third line, but as long as they are together, they could be one hell of a tandem. And then if you want to put in someone like Serengovich as your third guy, I can definitely see them being a pretty dangerous O line.
I do want to ask this, but obviously Cornell got recalled, sent back down to the A.
Uh-huh.
What do we think of Cornell going back to the Wranglers? Because there were kind of mixed reactions to it yesterday.
Well, I don't think it's because they were disappointed in his game. He scored his first goal in Pittsburgh and then didn't get another one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, so you one of when people a couple of people might think, oh well, he didn't play well enough, and I don't think that's it at all. I think what it is right now is it's him from going from NCAA hockey all the way to NHL hockey all of a sudden, and that can be a bit of a little bit of a a culture difference, we'll say, even the
Mm-hmm.
time and whatnot, and everything like that. That might just be a bit of a change for a lot of for especially him. So him getting sent back down to the AHL, I think, is something that is probably best because it gets him to develop a little more. It gets him used to um, NHL because AHL has similar kind of time and atmosphere and whatnot. And when that kind of happens, he can really get. He can. I think he can start. I think he can really start to go with his game even more than he already has shown. Um, but yeah, I think that's it. It's just more time of development towards the NHL atmosphere, but just in the AHL. That it's just kind of more of something that he needs to get used to. But I don't think he's going to be staying there for long. I don't think he's going to be. I
I don't
think he's
think
going
so
to
either.
I think within probably
I mean,
less than a month.
did you see the goal he scored yesterday for the Wranglers? Like,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know if he's gonna be with the Wranglers for a long period of time here. He'll
Yeah.
probably be back within a couple of games or so,
Yeah.
very likely. But I think to that point, I mean, I didn't mind the move sending Cornell back down because I think to the point of the development stage, it's not necessarily a bad thing. at this juncture, especially when your team's losing. Like, I don't even know if you would want him to be part of the team not having success right now, right? And I think that's the whole part of it too, where it's like for the sake of his development, but even for the sake of Dustin Wolf's development, because there's also been talk of people saying, "Well, yeah, we should bring Wolf as well." Why bring these guys up when the team is losing? Like, it makes no sense.
Yeah, if the team is tanking or the team is not doing well, then bringing up, obviously bringing up some of your younger guys is good, but if you are if you have specific guys in the AHL or wherever else that are supposed to be one of your top guy, like future top guys and are pretty big prospects, yeah, you don't want to bring them into basically a shit show that would possibly, destroy their confidence because, it's maybe might not be them, but you see on their score sheet and whatnot after a game, you see that they got, maybe 3 shots net, but they have a -3. Um, and or they have, within the next couple games they've gotten an assist and like a -5 record, and for them and maybe for other people, if they ever want to go to a different club or whatnot, that would really affect, because they would look at, scouts would look at this at the would look at the stat sheet and they'd say, "Oh, only 1 assist and it have a -5. I don't really think you'd be that good." When in reality, they could be excellent. They could be absolutely excellent players. But yeah, just bringing them up at a time where we're not doing so well is almost a recipe for disaster, and especially for Wolf. Especially for Wolf. He, if we were winning, we were like 6-3 or 6 or 7-3-1 right now, then we could consider. Then we could look at, okay, let's talk about, but even at that point, I wouldn't say, because then it's not. And you could. It's obviously that the team is playing well, and it probably would be that the goalies are doing their jobs as well. And so, I think right now what it is it needs to be about, do you it's the same kind of thing I think we said before, was it's timing. When is the best time to bring them up? Because it will obviously, first of all, depend on trade talks. If there is a trade to happen, either between Markstrom or Vladar. And it's also injuries. If there is an injury, because we still have Oscar Dansk as well. We'd first call up Wolf, but what if we decide that, we need to call up Dansk because we don't want to have Markstrom, or we don't know how to have Wolf be against, for his first game of the year, be against a team that is extremely difficult. And what if Markstrom or Vladar, while one of the two are injured, gets hurt or doesn't play that well, and it's the backup has to play against a good team, like a really good team. So, right?
Yeah. We'll put that. So we'll cover 2 more topics here on this episode of the Flaming Talk podcast. Let's talk about the other recent Flames call up, Martin Pospisil. How do we feel? He obviously as well scored his first NHL goal tonight against Seattle Kraken. How did you feel about his game tonight?
He scored that goal, which was really nice. Second time in a row for the Flames that a rookie has scored in his debut. Actually, on his first shift on his debut.
Yeah.
So that was
which
cool.
is amazing.
Yeah. But otherwise, I didn't see him much. There was a couple plays he made. A couple times he unfortunately had to take that 5-minute penalty for Mangiapane, which I'm sure we'll get
which
to.
we'll talk about in a second here. Yeah.
Which is unfortunate because I would have liked to see him a little more on, but yeah, it just kind of sucked. That sucked, but it just he I could see him, but on the ice, he didn't really amaze me, wow me. He's a pretty physical guy. He tries to play the puck, but there wasn't really anything that wowed me for unlike Zari. Now I'm trying to compare Propisil with Zari, which isn't probably the best idea. But it wasn't anything great for a debut. He other than him getting a goal. Yeah, there wasn't much that I could say that it was like, I can't say that I was like, wow, I was disappointed, but I just wasn't really that excited. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, besides that first goal, I mean, it was cool to see him score his first goal tonight, obviously too. But like, I didn't notice him much besides that all night long, right, for the Flames. And that's not to say it's a bad thing, but it's just, I mean, besides the first goal, I really just did not notice him besides that for the rest of the night. But anyway, we'll start to put a bow on this short edition of the Flame and Talk podcast. We need to talk about the Mangiapane thing. We really need to talk about that, and we need to talk about how of a fucking idiot Andrew Mangiapane was for that cross check to the head on Jared McCann tonight.
Yeah.
Like, what in the fuck was he thinking?
Yeah, I don't know about that. That was a really, really, really stupid play. Obviously, obviously McCann had it in his body when he blocked that shot. And you do want to try to find a way to get it out as soon as possible, but cross-checking a guy to the back of the neck, and I don't think he was cross-checking, like I could see Mangiapane was trying to do a little higher on the back, but you can't really be doing that regardless. You cross-check a guy in the back, and how hard he did it too. Yeah, you just can't do that. You can't do that. And especially when and you got to think about it too. It's like you were having good pace. You had a good thing going right there, and then you completely fuck it. You completely fuck it with you just cross-checking the guy and giving yourself a 5-minute and a game or a match penalty. Yeah, you can give yourself a 5
match penalty in the game was coming.
You have to just think about how, like, if the Flames were in the mood like they were in St. Louis, that would be the end of the game. That would be the end of the game, because that is a huge pace killer. And especially with them scoring a goal on that power play, that would have immediately, for me, been game over. Now, luckily, again, they were coming off of that pretty decent game against Dallas, so I knew we had something going, but it just doesn't make sense to me about why he thought about cross-checking. Was it McCann? You said.
McCann, yeah, Jared McCann.
Yeah, McCann. About why thinking cross-checking McCann was going to get the puck out of his body any quicker.
Yeah.
No. You're not doing anything, and you're screwing yourself. You are screwing yourself.
So based on that, because obviously Rasmus Andersson had recently just served a 4-game suspension, I imagine Mangiapane's suspension is probably going to be more than 4 games. Would it not be? Because I think personally, cross check to the neck is pretty predatory, and I think a lot more almost as predatory as what Rasmus did.
Now, if McCann was injured, like genuinely injured, and was on the ice and you could see it, and then Mangiapane could see it, was looking at for a sec, and then decides to do that, that is an absolute like 10 game. And yeah, that is a 10 game and a fine. I think McCann had it and just kind of because he went down while the puck was being shot, so that was the block, and then Mangiapane still retaliated, but the issue is that it wasn't like he was injured or something like that, but it still wasn't a smart move. I would still say I would think it's going to be around the same as Anderson's with about a 4 or 5 game suspension.
I wouldn't even be surprised. I wouldn't even be surprised if it was 6 either.
Yeah,
because I think it's based on how predatory and dangerous the play was,
fair.
and where the intent was at as well. That's I think the biggest part of it all too.
Yeah, I don't think there was intent for him to hurt McCann, but it was a stupid play to try and get the puck out of his chest. Like I think he was trying to, do something to get the puck out quicker, but that's not what you should do. Like even pushing him from the side, like just pushing, going down, bending over, and trying to push him. Just with your gloves or something like that, you're gonna push him and roll him back over to find the puck. That would be a hell of a lot better. But just crushing the guy in the back, and especially in the back of the neck, is not going to do anything except screw you over. Screw you over and give your team a 5-minute penalty. It's stupid.
Yeah.
It is just something that I just looked at and I'm like as I was watching it on TV, I'm just looking at it, I'm like, what the hell are you doing? It's like that. I said to myself as soon as he did that, I'm like, this game's probably over. So
somehow some way they won tonight without Mangiapane at that point, right? Because it would have been one of those. Normally, it would have been one of those things where Manch cross checks, he's gone. The Flames just crumble after that, and it's over, right?
Yeah.
But somehow they pulled out the W tonight. But anyway, we'll put a bow on this episode of the Flaming Talk podcast. This episode is set to be released on Monday, and as always, our podcast is a part of the Hockey Podcast Network, and also we've got our 2 sponsors here, Raycon and DraftKings. So you'll end up seeing the other details when it comes to that. For this episode of the Flaming Talk podcast, quickly, by the way, Connor, we will see on episode number 9, sir.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah, just
okay.
casual. See ya, bud.
Okay.
All right. That's it. That's it for us on episode. That's it for us on episode number 8 of the Flaming Talk podcast. For Connor Dolan, I'm Noah Adler. We wish you a great rest of your weekend.